Once upon a time. This is a story that I had when I was very, very little, maybe even 3 years old. Once upon a time, story of the Frog Prince, illustrated by Elizabeth Webb, Rand McNally and Company, Chicago, established in 1856. Someone borrowed it when I was older, and it got marked up, but it's still a very good book. Once upon a time, a beautiful young princess went into a wood near her father's palace and sat down beside a spring of cool, clear water. She amused herself by tossing up a golden ball and catching it again as it fell. But one time she threw the ball so high that she could not catch it, and it fell into the spring. Then the princess began to weep. "Oh, oh, if I could only get my golden ball again, I would give all my fine clothes and my pearls and diamonds, everything I have." As she said this, a big green frog stuck its head out of the spring and asked, "Beautiful princess, why do you weep?" "Alas," said the princess, "my golden ball has fallen into the spring." "I do not want your pearls and diamonds and fine clothes," croaked the frog. "But if you will let me live with you in the palace and eat from your own gold plate and sleep on your own white pillow, I will bring you your ball." "What a silly frog," thought the princess. "He can never climb out of the spring and up the steps of the palace. But perhaps he can get my ball again. So I had better promise him whatever he wants." So she said to the frog, "If you will bring me my ball from the spring, I promise everything you ask." At once the frog dived deep into the spring, and when he popped his green head out of the water again, sure enough, the ball was in his mouth. He tossed it out on the ground, and the princess ran to pick it up. She was so happy to have it again that she never gave a thought to the frog, but ran home as fast as she could. She did not even stop to say thank you. Next day, just as the princess sat down to dinner, she heard a strange noise, flop, 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 slowly coming up the marble staircase. Soon after there came a thump low down at the door, and a hoarse voice said, "Beautiful princess, open your door, that I may come in and go out no more. Have you forgotten the vows you made by the woodland spring in the oak tree's shade?" The princess ran to open the door, and there at her feet sat the frog. She was so frightened when she saw his fat green body and his wide mouth that was trying to smile that she shut the door in his face. "Who is it, daughter?" asked the king. "What has frightened you?" "There's an ugly frog at the door," she said, "and he wants to come in. Last night I dropped my golden ball in the spring, and he dived down and brought it out for me. I promised him that he might live with me here and be my playmate, but I felt sure that he could never, never get out of the spring." The king said kindly, but very firmly to his daughter, Princesses never break their word. You must keep your promise. Let him in." So the princess opened the door, and the frog came hop, hop, hopping into the room and up to her chair. "Pick me up and put me on the table at your side," said he to the princess, and the princess dared not refuse. When he had settled himself on the table, he said, "Push your gold plate closer to me, that I too may eat out of it." The princess pushed her plate closer. When the frog had finished dinner, he said, "I am tired and sleepy. Carry me upstairs and put me on your little white pillow." The princess took him up between her thumb and finger and carried him upstairs. There she laid him on the pillow of her little bed. But when she laid her own head on the pillow, the cold frog tumbled against her cheek. She flung him with all her might against the wall. When he fell down, there was no frog at all, but a handsome young prince stood beside her bed, looking at her with the most grateful eyes that ever were seen. "Who are you, and where is the frog?" cried the princess. "An old witch changed me into a frog," said the prince, "and doomed me to remain a frog until some princess should let me eat from her plate and rest on her pillow." "You have broken this wicked spell," he went on, "and now will you marry me and go with me to my father's kingdom? I will love you and be good to you as long as I live." The princess, you may be sure, said yes without stopping long to think it over. Then they heard a prancing in the courtyard, and when they looked out into the moonlight, there was a golden carriage drawn by 8 white horses in silver harness, and on the carriage was the prince's coachman, who had bewailed the loss of his master so long that his heart had well nigh burst. He had put 3 strong iron bands about it, lest it should break from grief and pain. But as they all set out merrily for the prince's kingdom, crack, crack went the iron bands, for the heart of the coachman, swelling with joy, snapped them one after another.